gonna say, in the last 20 plus years, kids have been taught, that get a college degree, go IT.
Sit in the office all day.
Sit in the office, it's where it's always been.
Yeah.
And now, we're in dire need of
skilled
tradesmen. Yeah, skilled tradesmen.
Mm-hmm. That pay well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pay is, the more the demand is, the higher the pay is getting.
Yeah.
And they're still not lining up to go into construction.
Yeah.
Everybody's still seeking, the IT type positions.
Well, how do we change that? As a country, what do we do?
You get to a point to where your infrastructure stops because you don't have enough people.
It seems like
it forces people into doing it.
It seems like supply and demand, free market economics should catch up with this, which is going to cost taxpayers a lot to build these infrastructure, but you're going to have to pay, eventually get to the point where a kid would be like, man, I can make $40 an hour to go do construction or whatever.
That's what the problem is. It's not there yet, but it's a scary thought because they're making it now to where, because there's been such a demand for like specifically operators for the last few years. They're steadily doing GPS models. They're creating these machinery that will run on GPS and models that are put into them. Well, you're getting to a point to where, how many hours you got on a dozer?
Me personally?
Yeah.
On a dozer?
Zero. How many hours you got on a motor grader?
Oh, 0.
Well,
Yeah. I've played with backhoes. But
yeah. But they're getting to the point now to where you can get on a grader, all you gotta do is be able to start it. You can get on a dozer, all you can do is be able to start it and put this model in. If you can put this model in and start work, the dozer does it for you. I mean, literally all you gotta do when you get to the end of your push, pick your blade up and back up and start over again.
Really?
Yeah.
But what if that system goes down in the middle of a job? Does the job stop? Or does an experienced operator take over and say, well, I know what I'm doing, I can finish this?
If you don't have an experienced operator, that's what it's going to get to. I mean, the job's going to stop.
Yeah.
And, there again, a lot of times, you get into this area that hasn't been developed. You got a lot of trees and stuff. Well, if you got trees that are covering the satellites and stuff, your GPS, you got blind spots. You lose it. So, experienced operators got to be there to be able to take over and finish up that section that's in a blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's what they're working towards. They're trying to get it to where automation. The least amount of experienced person, can get on there and be able to put it in.
Yeah.
Is that being driven by the fact that there just aren't enough people who even know how to?
I don't know. That's my theory. That's what I think. Because it's been such a, because in my field, my aspect, we're steadily looking for people. Have been ever since probably 2014, 2015. When the economy started coming back, we're steadily trying to find people. We're having trouble. The people we do find don't have enough experience, and they work a few weeks and they just don't fit the bill. We offer them a lesser position. They don't do the manual labor, and so they boot.
Yeah.
It's generational.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our problems in the world today are generational.
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
It'll just take time.
Yeah.
Well, now we all need to instill a work ethic
Absolutely.
in our children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the gap is. I think in the last 20 to 30 years, the parenting for the kids that were born in the last 20 to 30 years, they were looking for the best education, the best outcome for their children. And at that time, it was, technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it was at. And so everybody got to focus on that, and that's where we ended up. And, now we don't have enough tradesmen because these jobs was looked as a less demeanor job. You're not going to make the money you need to make. Well, that's not the case anymore. Now, people are making, laborers are making over $15, $18 an hour.
In this part of the country.
In this part of the country, yeah.
I need to go get me a labor job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but because there's, and especially when you get into skilled laborers, that's another, $4 to $5 an hour for skilled labor.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's important, starting out at that living wage. If it isn't a living wage to get started, then you're not gonna make it far anyway.
No.
So if a laborer can have if he can pay his rent, his utilities, then that person has an opportunity to grow.
Right.